はい。では続きからやっていきたいと思います。ジョシュアと話す前にね、なんか新しい武器が作れそうなので、話しかけましょう。
デ
ィフェンダープラス1か。これ作ろ
No scratches, right?
う。まあ多分、今回のがも
Should last you a good
う
while.
最後のサブクエな気がしているので、
Anything else?
その、まあ、あれこんな場所入れたっけ？あ、見るか。カロンの取引所。こんなところ触れたんだ。初めて。多分ね、リスキーモブをやった後に、まあ全体やらないと無理な気はするけど、最後のね、武器、強い武器、ラスボス行く前に作れるかな。
Ultima may have created us, but he doesn't make us who we are. Only we can do that. And if he would have us fight for our survival, so be it. It's what we've been doing all along.
Much like Ultima himself, it would seem. His new world being naught but a means to survive. And so, we must contend to decide which of us shall inherit the land. Should Ultima prevail, it will mean death for us all. Of that, we can be certain. But even should he fail, what world awaits us? A withered, godless place, where our newfound freedom will most like prove a chain in itself.
Well, that may be. But a chain can always be broken. As long as one has the will to break it. It won't be easy. It may take generations. Centuries of suffering. And that is if everyone plays their part. But it will happen. And when it does, it will be on our terms. That is the world that awaits us.
Indeed. And what better world could one wish for?
But first, we have to reach that crystal.
Then it's a good thing I have wings.
You can barely stand, let alone fly. And only the Founder knows what horrors await in those skies. Are you certain about this?
Am I certain? I am the Phoenix. I will do what I must. This is our fight. Remember.
All right. I yield. But only what you must, yes? I'm still your sworn shield.
That you are.
And what of my wings? Lest you forget, you go to stand against a god. I would not have you succumb to fatigue before the fight begins. Ifrit, your brother mentioned that some few of the dominants who had lost their power to you were still able to prime. Is that true?
It is. But their icons no longer submitted to their will.
Then mine will have to be stronger. That you both might save your strength for the battle to come.
You don't have to do this.
If you do, there's a chance you might lose all you have left.
And what have I but regret? My life ended in the Dominion. I fear death no more. Besides, I would have words with Ultima. He has much to answer for.
We are in your debt, Dion.
We can speak of debts when this is over.
He speaks like a man who knows he's not coming back. And has come to terms with that.
That doesn't mean that we have to, does it, Clive?
Time to talk to Jill. I only hope she understands.
はい。これでね、空に浮かんでいるオリジンへの生き方は解決しましたが、ディオン。
Say your farewells, and let us be gone.
まさかここまで手伝ってくれるとは。てかサブクエは発生してないの？どうなってるんだろうな。ってことは最後のリスキーモブいけるのか。とりあえず、ジルと話してみて、その後にもう一回ちょっとね、どうなるかっていう。ビビアンなんか更新する情報がありますね。
How may I help you today?
あ、もうあれだな。
Of course.
アルテマが神ってなっている。わかりやすいね。
Study it well, Clive. Very good.
はい。じゃあね、ジルに話しかけに行きましょう。残りのね、2体 A が残ってるんで、ちょっと、どこだ全然違う場所だね。ちょっと遠いので、カットしますね。はい。この暗い部屋の奥のベランダにいますね。じゃあ話しかけましょう。
Come to wish on a star.
That might not be such a bad idea. This is it, Jill. You know what I have to do. Why I have to do it. There's no turning back now. This is where our journey was leading us. Where it will end, for better or worse.
I could pray to Metia for you. But you'll be all right, won't you, Clive? You always are.
I did promise we'd watch the moon together.
I'll be waiting.
It's almost time. Better make sure I haven't forgotten anything.
はい。来ました。サブクエがね、これで、やっと最後のリスキーモブたちも解放されるんじゃないか。じゃあね、どんどん受けていきたいと思います。いやー、最後のサブクエか。ちょっと寂しいものがありますけど、話しかけましょう。
Clive, my boy! Rutherford informs me that we owe you our thanks. Hadn't intended for you to get involved, but such are the times we live in, huh?
I would have done the same for anyone else.
You're far too modest, Clive. You'd make a terrible nobleman. But tell me, is the realm truly in as dire a state as Rutherford suggests?
From what little I saw, you were right to be worried.
I suppose I should have expected the worst. But I was rather hoping the great and good of the realm might have things a little more under control. Alas, it seems that firm leadership is in short supply these days, and without it, the people are bound to lose their way. We must move quickly.
But where do we start?
True, the challenges that face us are many. But in my estimation, there are two key areas to be addressed before any other. The realm's armies and her larders. As you've seen firsthand, it's every man and woman for themselves out there. Certain cities have banded together to try and maintain some semblance of order, yes? But such cases are few and far between. And yet, the only remedy for the chaos that faces us is unity. A unity that transcends even the borders laid down by our ancestors. In short, if Storm does not stand together, she will fall apart.
But how would one even begin to unite the realm?
The armies, my boy. As I told you already, we begin by restoring order among the ranks of those sworn to maintain it. Sadly, I doubt I could convince even the lowliest gaggle of privates to dig a latrine together. But I do know someone the High Commanders have been known to listen to on occasion. Field Marshal Eugen Havel.
I thought he was retired.
He was, until an Akashic army tore through Randalar and killed most of the rank and file. There is no man alive more capable. Literally. And as luck would have it, I've already spoken with him on the matter.
Of course you have.
And he's agreed to help. On one condition. That he first speaks with you personally. Havel has always been a man of frustratingly rigid principle, and he has certain qualms about clasping arms with, well, with an outlaw. I extolled your many virtues as best I could, of course, but the old goat was adamant that he be allowed to appraise you in person. You don't mind, do you, my boy?
Of course not. As long as chaos reigns, we will never build a better world. I'll do whatever it takes. And if the Field Marshal wishes to speak with me in person, then so be it.
That's the spirit.
I'll leave for Randalar at once. Would you send a Stolas?
Of course. Rutherford is already in the Dalmekian capital. I'll have him tell Havel to expect you forthwith.
Excellent. Thank you, Uncle.
No, thank you, Clive.
こう見極めたいと、これは戦闘になるやつじゃないか。あとは他にだいぶあるね。サブクエ嬉しいね。てかこれの役目が未だに分かってないんだよな。まあ、とりあえずね、サブクエ受けられるところ行きたいと思うのでカットしたいと思います。あら、まさかのジョシュアからのサブクエですか。なんでしょう。
Ah, Clive.
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will, or something akin to it.
His will? How? Where?
In the crypt beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but would you join me?
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are.
さすが最後の方のサブクエ。なんかサブとは思えないぐらいのストーリー展開しそうだな。じゃあね、次の方に話しかけよう。
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When ether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit Walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris.
はい、これもなかなか重たそうな内容ですね。全部そこそこな戦闘な気がするな。じゃあ最後ね、受けましょう。
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Cursebreakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you're happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
うんうん。この最後に受けたやつだけはちょっと楽そう。
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer.
そんな強い感じはしないけど。最後にね、これ見てみよう。まだなんかあんのかな。あ、これはこれだ、後半編のやつ。これ受けたら私が前にやろうとしてたリスキーモブのやつが現れるんだ、きっとね。これも受けていこう。
Nazir might at least have mentioned where in Northreach he'd be testing this recruit.
その前にイザベルと話そう。イザベル、ほらここだ。これの後半を終わった後に私がねやろうと思ってたリスキーモブが出てくると思うんで、まずはねこれをやってしまいましょう。
Do you have a moment, Clive?
What is it?
It's the Duke, unsurprisingly. His Eminence has assumed full control of the garrison and put every able-bodied man to work on the fortifications. The town was left all but unguarded, so Philippe was compelled to form a citizen's watch to fill the void. And though my dear boys have been characteristically willing to assist him in this, they want for bodies. So I was wondering if you would lend them your strength, that the people of Northreach might sleep easier, if only for a few nights.
Of course. Whatever you need.
Thank you, Clive. What would I do without you? Philippe told me he had men stationed at...
Where can I find the mistress of this establishment?
Here, my lady. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
My name is Sabine, and it is my displeasure to be the daughter of the Duke of Oriflamme, who I understand is causing you and your town no small amount of trouble. I wish to speak to you about what might be done.
Very well. Let us speak. I trust you'll forgive me, Clive.
Absolutely. Our conversation can wait.
Please, proceed.
As you know, my father is a most overbearing and supercilious man, and I join you in objecting to his every action. Indeed, I owe you my thanks for continuing to argue against his reckless plans. Yet I fear he is not one to be swayed by reason. No. He must be made to face the consequences of his actions.
And who would make him do this?
I would. Myself and several other like-minded individuals. Were you to join us, we would surely have the strength to drive him from Northreach for good.
Does that not seem a trifle... drastic?
Drastic action is precisely what is called for. Unless you are content to see your people downtrodden and dispossessed. My father would have it that citizens exist only to serve the Empire. That they should be forced to make every sacrifice to ensure her revival. But he is wrong. It is not the people who must serve the Empire, but the Empire who must serve her people. He's always been like this. Scornful of the opinions of anyone he judged beneath him. But he cannot be allowed to ride roughshod over the common folk any longer. We must fight him. By all possible means.
Fight him? No. My purpose is to quell the tension in Northreach, not to stoke it. Respectfully, my lady. Our only chance of saving this town depends upon every one of us uniting against our common enemy. Your father and his followers included. While I understand your frustrations, I cling to the hope that he may yet be won round.
False hope, I assure you. But I see that your mind is made up. I shall bother you no longer. If you will extend me the same courtesy, I bid you good day.
She certainly has spirit.
Indeed. But unfortunately for us, that spirit is only likely to harden the Duke's resolve, which may be enough to seal the fate of this town. Not that she cares. This is all about her and her father.
Families.
I'm sorry, where were we? Ah, yes. I was about to tell you of Philippe's plans for the town watch, but perhaps it's better that you heard them from him. I believe he's in the market, if you'd be so kind as to seek him out.
Right away.
It's just a pity I cannot join you. I'd like to see the two of you in action together.
はい。なんか、いろいろなというか、娘さんが来たことによって、あれいつの間にジョシュアと、誰がある？じゃあ行きましょう。まずはね、この、今いるところのものから解決していきたいので、こっちだね。こっち行きましょう。これもすごい近くにあるな。とりあえず一旦出ましょうかね。はい。
I need you.